I'm Meredith with Extreme Terrain, and welcome to this installment of Customer Builds. Now, this is a series where we showcase different rigs from our customer build pages right here on our site to hopefully give you some ideas or even some inspiration for your ride at home. On this episode, we're going to be catching up with Brian from Wisconsin and talking about his Trail Ready 2009 JKU. If you want to see more about Brian's build, including a full breakdown of his mods list, you can check out his page on the site, or for those of you watching right here on YouTube, you can click the link down below to check it out. So what do you say we connect with Brian and take a look at his build? Hey Brian, how are you today?
I'm good, and how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me. Let's get right into it. So obviously you have a really cool build going on, and starting off with your suspension and kind of the foundation of your Jeep, can you tell me a little bit more about what you have as far as a lift kit and your wheels and tires?
So what I decided was, when it came to a lift, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go extreme or if I wanted to just go with your basic leveling kit. So I went with the TerraFlex performance leveling kit. It's got the spring-based leveling. It gives me 2 inches of lift in the front, 1 inch lift in the rear, and spring-based versus spacer-based. Once that was installed, I actually went with your basic shocks, and just recently I upgraded to the TerraFlex Falcon Series 3.3 piggyback shocks, which so far I like them. I haven't really messed with the settings that much. You got your standard one for, really loose, and then you've got 2 with all the micro settings, and then 3 is your stiffest. I've been actually just leaving it on 1 for right now, and just recently I started messing around with it, going, okay, which direction do I want to go? A lot of people say just stay with 1 when you're on the trail and hit 3 when you're just on the road, or highway driving. But I kind of think I want to mess around with the 2 and do some micro settings.
I've installed those before, and you definitely can tell the difference.
So then I had to replace the tie rod and the drag link recently because they were shot. The Jeep's a 2009, so it most likely was factory. It was all over the place, but once you put on those heavy duty, steering components, night and day difference. I mean, you can feel it when you're driving down the road. I mean, it's a Jeep. It's not going to ride like a luxury vehicle as much as we want it to. I've also got the adjustable Freedom off-road front and upper lower control arms and for the rear. And I mean, I've got the steering stabilizer, relocation bracket, which is nice because then it doesn't hang down as low. Now with the suspension, with the leveling lift kits, it performs better on the trail. And honestly, it performs better just on the road in general.
I know a lot of people, they get a lift because they want to go off-road, but a lot of the time it makes the ride quality on-road just that much better as well.
Absolutely. But I ended up getting the Mammoth General black matte wheels, the 16x8, and a lot of people are like, why did you go from 17 to 16? As much as I want to buy bead locks, it's way out of my price range. So when you air down, you have less of a chance of really blowing that bead. I wrapped them in the Toro Trailblade AT tires. So essentially, it's a 33-inch tire. They're awesome on the trail, off the trail. I recommend them as, a good budget start out because, man, you can just spend way too much money per tire, and you need 5 of them when you own a Wrangler.
Yeah, you have that added tire, that's that added tax there.
It's been great on the trail, but will I eventually upgrade to maybe something a little more aggressive? Absolutely, but it would be one of those things where I would just use it during the summer or, really extreme trails. Well,
let's jump into some of your armor. I see you have a lot going on there too. Can we start out in the front? Can you tell me a little bit more about the armor setup and some of the exterior accessories that you have up front?
So with the armor, what I ended up going with for the front bumper is a stubby bumper that's a Rough Country. I really like the look of it. I like the size of it. I like it that I can hide the winch versus, it's sitting up and being in the way of the grill, so more airflow. I've got the Red Rock 4x4 rocker guard. And then for the rear bumper, I ended up going with the Red Rock 4x4 crawler rear bumper with the LED fog lights. But it's nice how it tucks up. It looks good. I haven't, smashed it into anything as of yet. It hasn't hung up on anything. And then for the underbelly, I've got the Rubicon Express oil pan skid plate which, first time I was on the trail and I was hitting everything, terrifying. The last thing you want to do is puncture that. I've had a lot of people tell me that the oil pan itself, it can handle pretty, well on the trail, but it's still scary.
They are pretty tough. However, that's one thing that you want to make sure is protected. If you have the opportunity to protect it, I definitely recommend it, and it sounds like you did too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was totally worth the investment. And then it's that evap canister. I don't understand why it's so low. Oh yeah, I've got a skid plate on that, but it's one of those things where I feel a lot safer having, even if it's that minimum armor.
Having a little bit of extra insurance is what I like to call it. It's better that it's there, because if it happens, it's going to save whatever component that you have it on. So it's always good to have a little bit of extra insurance.
Absolutely.
Do you have anything on the side of your Wrangler?
I do have the Barricade fenders, the textured ones, and they're awesome. They look good. I haven't, again, smashed them into anything yet. I know that there's those times where people are like, go with plastic, because if they break, then I don't have to get body damage. I like them. They feel sturdy, well made, and they make the Jeep look cool. And they give a lot of space, once you add those.
Yeah, they give a lot of space in the wheel well, especially with the 33. So if you do any articulation, you're really not going to hit that fender while you're off-road. And those are pretty slim, so there's not really a lot of chance that you can come into contact with anything that's going to cause that much damage. They make it look really good, and they're really functional, just like you said.
Yeah, they're awesome. I really like them. And then, I've got, some people might say a light bar really isn't armor, but I've got the Barricade light bar, and I haven't put any lights on it. I like the look, and I think it helps when you're on the trail for branches.
I was actually going to ask you about that, because not a lot of people just have that there with no lights on it, and I think it looks really sleek. I think it looks really unique, and you're absolutely right. That's just one more thing that's going to keep any branches from contacting your windshield, which could potentially damage your windshield. So I think it looks great.
And I got real lucky, because I just purchased a GMRS radio. I'm licensed now. And where the hole is for the lights, the small antenna fits right there perfectly.
Oh, well then that's perfect. You don't even need to put a light up there if you have something else that you can put up there.
Yep, so it's fully functional it's great, I love it.
Well, speaking of lights, do you have any additional lighting on your Jeep?
Right now, what I ended up going with was the Raxium flush mount quad LED grill lights. I like the look of it. They're very bright. I ended up putting some amber film over them. So I definitely like them. They look really good. I'll be adding some additional lights later on, but I just want to, I don't want to go crazy.
I think the ones in the grill of your Jeep look really good too. Sometimes you don't need to go all out if you don't necessarily want to. So to kind of wrap this up, do you have any future plans?
So as of right now, I've kind of got the build on hold, but I've got other ideas. I'm looking at doing a soft top, and then maybe possibly some kind of a roof rack with hard top, so that when I take the hard top off, it's just attached to that. Give it a little bit of extra storage. We want to do a lot more traveling with the Jeep. I'm considering getting a trailer and do the camping and everything. Eventually, I might consider increasing the lift to a 2.5-inch lift, just to give a little bit more clearance. A couple weekends ago, I was on the trail, and I got hung up pretty good. And a bunch of the guys were like, if you just had a little bit more lift, you wouldn't be dragging and making terrifying noises.
Sometimes the noises sound bad, but they're harmless.
But I think if I do anything major next, it's probably going to be full Under Armour. Just protect everything, get all the factory stuff off, get some nice stuff on there. As of right now, that's pretty much it. I know if you ever say, "Oh, I'm done with the build," everybody's like, "Yeah, right, So I always just say on hold. I'm going to run with what I've got, and then I'll make the improvements as I go.
I like that. Well, thank you so much. It was really fun diving into your build. I'm glad I heard more about it, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do with it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It was awesome, and thanks for reaching out.
Great. Well, thank you so much. So that's going to do it for this installment of Customer Builds. If you want to see more about Brian's build, including a full breakdown of his mods list, you can check out his page on the site, or for those of you watching right here on YouTube, you can click the link down below to check it out. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool content like this and other product install videos, and always keep it right here at extremeterrain.com.